Hi there. My name is Tom, and I'm making this video um, um, to address some serious major issues that are going on in my life and in general society as a whole. You'll have to bear with me because this is my first time doing a video out in the open, or I don't even know if I'm going to upload this video or not. I'm recording as to as a test to see if I will put it up or not. But I feel so strongly about what I'm saying, going to be emphasizing here in this video, that it goes into an awful lot of details. I'm a very neutral, central. I try to be a neutral and central person to all of these issues, and in all major issues in society that is um, stemming from poverty. But this goes into my own issues and goes into a lot of other issues as well. And some of the things I'll be addressing here are going to be sensitive, um, for some people to hear, certain people, especially in certain positions that people are working in Ireland. And this probably stems into other scales, or global scale as well. Um, I will be talking about other this will involve other countries on a global scale as well, in other countries, not just Ireland. When I delve into this, I don't know how long this video is going to be. I didn't take notes or written down of what I'm going to exactly say. I can't even the level of the stress and the anxiety that I'm facing as a person over this is drastically taking over my life, and it doesn't seem to matter what way I express it, because it's all there doesn't seem to be there's no adequate solution within the healthcare system or in any supporting campaigns, let's say, predominantly from the healthcare system, the authorities, and to actually get any answers or any legitimate answers. I know myself what the answers are to a lot of these issues I'll be saying for myself, within myself, knowing deep down within my intuition, perseverance, the truth, the truth, and I know the answers. But the reason why I can't get legitimate uh, discussions in Ireland is because of certain laws, rules, and regulations within the legal in laws that don't work, and because of these laws that are in place, it causes for the patients or for the people who need help in the healthcare system, the authorities, whatever, in stemming in all institutions of the states, or all institutions of the Irish state, all the institutions and all the organisations. It because of them, what I see it as, and people who have the same views as me, immoral and um, unethical frameworks within laws and rules and regulations and statutes that are unethical and immoral to the patients, and to the people that are needing help. It people can't get access to proper help or to legitimate help in and this immoral and unethicalness, and like is just it's causing great distress and a lot of harm in our society. Um, But what I will talk about here, what's on my mind, is something that happened to me. This is a long story. It's very distressing. I won't go into all the exact details of it, but it's a very complex story. I will tell you the result of what I really need. Um, I was myself caught with a very small level of cannabis uh, back in 2016 or 17, and when that happened, like a long time later, about a year and a half later, I I had to like sit a restorative justice program for being caught with that, and I had to do 20 hours of work in the community, take a urine test to test for the presence of drugs in my body, and I also had to Um, what else did I have to do in that? There was another thing. Go see a counsellor, which wasn't. It was unbelievable. That was to do. I didn't. When I was caught with cannabis, I didn't realise that the drug law was so strict in Ireland, predominantly in the location I was in, which was in. Oh, okay, I'll say the location. I didn't plan on saying locations. I won't mention any names here, or I won't identify individuals, but I will say Nina, County Tipperary. I was, and I'm not right from it since. That happened a long while ago. Um, I had to go to court, sit in front of a district court judge. Um, the case was the hearings went on a couple of times, and at the end of it, this case was thrown out or was struck out. No criminal record, no nothing, and I was like in a very very distressed and worried state over this when since this happened. But I didn't think it would come to restorative justice, even though I was told by the Gardai like in that when I was searched and all that. And this story goes into is a very stressful. This is very hard for me to speak about, but I have to do it. I feel I have to do it for myself because it's going on so long, and I don't know which if this video will get out to whatever uh, platforms it reaches on the social media and whatever else. I think it's better for me to get this out, but it's tough. This is tough to speak about, but I'm going to do it for other people who want to speak out as well. So look, I didn't make any plan on this video, so if I'm in and out and I'm going off topic about anything, bear with me because, like, it's my first time doing it. I didn't write out notes, and I'm gonna try to explain the best I can. So back to the story about the cannabis. That when that happened, um, that crowd I had to deal with, the restorative justice in the community. Um, I tried to make contact with them afterwards because when this happened, I didn't make contact with them straight away because the case was over. It was a relief, and basically for that cannabis, when I was caught with that from the Nina, um, this crowd sent me out a questionnaire stating, you know, how like about how did you feel when the victim was present when you were caught with that, and victim this and victim that. Were you in very anxiety or in fear when the victim was present? And that really boiled me off when that questionnaire came out. Especially, I didn't harm anybody. I bought a bit of cannabis off someone, and it was made out as if I really caused a serious or assault on somebody. The way it was reacted upon, or the way it was dealt with, it wasn't dealt with the right way. I feel, and it's affecting me a lot. I try to make contact with these people, and every time I try to make contact with them through tech, first of all, I try to message them, didn't work, and then I tried to ring them, and this happened way months apart. Months apart, I started trying to message them that I wasn't right and I'm affected by this and everything, and and uh, an argument happened with the one I spoke to, and the guards were rang, and I was told by the guards not to contact them anymore. A particular guard, a member of An Garda Síochána, and this was months apart. Though I tried to ring in October of 2019, when the case actually happened. The court case, when I appeared in court in front of the judge, happened in January of 2019. Out of all this, I had to go see that restorative justice in 2018 in the autumn, October, I think, around that time. Can't exactly remember the dates or anything, but I'll give you an accurate time frame as much as I can. But now, since that has happened, I'm going to come out now. I'm going to come out and say this now on camera. I need safe access to medical cannabis. I'm a patient who actually needs safe access under the law since all that happened, and I found that out the hard way. I'm telling you right now. I went to doctors all about this to get, and the meds they prescribed me even before that, over the years, didn't really work. They're not. The best way to describe it is that the meds uh, are not for me, or the ones that they prescribe, because they're all big pharma and all big, they're all just being promoted by big pharma giants, giving you tablets in the form of tablets and pills. And like I didn't even I went along and took the tablets because of the doctors. Of, oh, you'll get better and this and that. I said, okay, listen to them, even though I knew a little part of me said that it doesn't, part of me said that this isn't actually ideal for me. So now I need safe access to medical cannabis, And I've been more verbal and vocal about this for um, the last few months, or for the past, in the recent past, and because I have acted and asserted myself in that way towards certain people, I have been ridiculed. I've been called names. I've been called everything, um, even by members of An Garda Síochána. I will get into that about our police force. Actually, there's a lot more I could say about what I found out about them, stemming from cannabis and the drugs, and even generally anyway. Because since that's happened with the court case with the drug thing, like with that cannabis, a lot has happened, and I'm affected greatly by it. I ever since that's happened, I looked up on the internet of corruption in the Gardai, corruption in general in Ireland, corruption, like going on to Google and looking up corruption here, corruption there, and the stuff I found out is shocking, absolutely shocking. Um, I found out like an awful lot that the law applies literally to us. If we break the law, I break the law, or any standard citizen like you, we get punished under the law, and they have no problem with that. But if there's people in positions of authority and power, if they're breaking laws, they they seem to think that they're above the law. Um, and I found that out, and I have the proof and evidence. It's not just opinion. It's not primarily. This is facts, and I found that out. And I'm very, very angry and, well, I'd say frustrated about what's happened with me doing this video here. Like, it's very hard to describe this. Okay, it's very it's it's like, I don't know, like, this cannabis thing is affecting me greatly. I'm not right from it since. I need safe access to it is the thing. And I've been whatever would call names over the last while since that's happened, because there were times when I was out parking in University of Limerick when I was trying to get away and park in the car park by myself. I was dealing with a lot of issues, and Gardaí would approach me and ask what I was doing and this and that. Um, and I just said I'm here, whatever reason. The Misuse of Drugs Act was done on me in university in UL. I was just parked in there, and I told the guard I don't want anything coming out of this. I don't want anything coming out of this conversation. As in, I don't want you to ring anybody or tell anybody about this. I want this confident. I want this to be kept private and confidential. And he agreed to that. The next day, he rang. He rang a number. He rang. He was in contact, believe it or not, with one of my parents about that. I wasn't happy about that. And I was in there next week. I was in the car park again, just because I was in there for myself. I was on my own, dealing with a lot of issues like I am now. Another guard approached me, wondering what I was doing there. Did the Misuse of Drugs Act on me, and the other guard came in, and the same one from last week came into the same place. This happened on a Saturday, and a week later, exactly on this Saturday, he came in and started saying, "Oh, this is this Tom lad. Look at this. Oh, this is there." And I, just trying to show off in front of his friends, because there was more than one Garda car there with other guards. And I said to him, "Why?" I said, "Why did you ring one of my parents the last week?" I said, why did you do that? Like, I didn't want." He said, "Oh, I'm entitled to make inquiries." And I said, well, yeah, but why didn't you ring my mobile? He rang the home number as well, actually. Didn't ring my mobile. I said, "Why wouldn't you ring my mobile?" And he just said, "Why didn't you go to the effing doctor? Why didn't you go to the doctor? Why didn't you go to the effing doctor?" I said, "What do you mean I can't? I already told you that." And I said, "I can't go to the doctor." And he said, "Why?" And I said, "Because I need safe access to medical cannabis, but I can't get it to drug prohibition." And his reaction was unbelievable. He was just like, "Oh, shut up about your this and that. Oh, stop going on about your cannabis," and got out or he didn't get out of the car, but he was all like this, and he was like, "You're a lunatic," and all this, and I was like, it's like, God, like, it's upsetting, to be honest, and having to deal with that, like, told I could have said that's none of your business, that's under medical grounds. He shouldn't have done that anyway, because he breached his oath by breaching his confidentiality, and plus he what else did he do? He went into my medical records and went in front of other Gardaí who she shouldn't have done, and he asked me why didn't you go to the doctor? And that's what I said back. I said I could have said that's none of your business. Stay, that's nothing to do with you. But I said actually I was thinking, no, tell him the truth. Tell him you need safe access to medical cannabis, and I did. And the reason why I need safe access to medical cannabis is because I actually know that that's the most therapeutic drug out of all other drugs, the legal ones anyway, from pharma like that, from pharmaceuticals that are made, and even other meds that can be in the pharmaceuticals that aren't directly prescribed that will treat my condition and issues very well. It does it more. There's so much research. We have all the evidence of it, but yet it's still in prohibition. And other countries like Portugal and Canada who has legalized cannabis, and other ones of the like, and other countries that have it decriminalized. We see the results are a lot better. And but I'm a patient who needs it, and that program, I'm deeply affected by that restorative justice program, though, more than anything else, because basically a lot has happened out of that, and I'm affected out of it since. And it's not. It's much more than just finding out about the law about drugs in our society. The prohibition doesn't work. I know that. We need to legalize cannabis. We need to legalize, in fact, all drugs. And when I say that, I mean heroin, crystal meth, and all them. And people have looked at me kind of like, what? You're saying to legalize these drugs, like heroin and that? And I said, yes. They said, you're mad, you'll cause more deaths. I said, not would it though? I'm going to ask, would it? I don't think so. I think if we had um, strict rules and regulations in place that are run by only healthcare professionals like doctors, the nurses somewhat, therapists, to deal with the drug issue, with all drugs, the illegal ones and legal ones, we would have a way safer and better society run, and we'd get more treatment into our medical centres. Our streets would not be full of criminality or crime with people going around. We've got basically what we have is more people. Um, I wouldn't call these gangs. I would call them more like opportunists that are going in, making a business, making their own way of living out of a business in a way of a business of their own, where they're going around selling drugs, illegal drugs, and there's no regulation. There's no like effective regulation or to. It's an illegal marketplace, the black market and all that. So anyone like and what we have is a, a war that is never going to be won with prohibition. Like what you have is we have the Gardai and even global scale the police going in raiding homes and they get get this amount of cannabis, this amount of cocaine and ecstasy and all this, all different ones. And there's so many different raids, but you get like, it's just all a waste of time. It's all a waste of time because they get all these drugs and they publicize it with the media then that, oh, let's say for example 200,000 euros slash pounds slash dollars of marijuana cannabis was found, and they like everyone in the comments are like, oh, good job police, good job whatever, and well, get these people off the streets. But it just doesn't work. What we need to do is legalize all drugs, because drugs are not going to go away with prohibition. Like what they're trying to do is make drugs go away, but the marketplace for the black market and all that is so rampant and high up that there's no way of doing away with or getting rid of prohibition. And uh, the only way I see is by legalizing it. I think decriminalizing it a would be halfway through. It wouldn't still fully solve the drug issue, but decriminalizing would help because people for personal use wouldn't be put through the criminal justice system if they're caught with whatever amount of any illegal drug like cannabis, cocaine, or whatever, ecstasy, and any other legal drug that's for personal use. Um, yeah, there's an awful lot I could say about this, but back to my story with the restorative justice, I'm deeply affected that I was treated in such people were very judgmental. I dealt with in that center, and and they weren't even trained. They're not doctors. They're not even trained medically or in a health professional manner to be dealing with it. I should have The worst that should have came out was I should have went to the counsellor or a therapist or go to the hospital alone and then get an analysis of me and then let me go. That should have been the worst case scenario. But no, I was put through that horrible criminal justice system in relation to drugs. And I'm not right from it. A lot has happened out of that since, and I'm not correct about it. And there's no, I don't know if I've explained it fully. I do need safe access to medical cannabis. I might be on the. I repeat myself quite frequently about things. So if I do repeat myself, apologies if I bring up the same thing. It's the first video, and there's an awful lot going on in with me and different things. But I don't even know if I'm gonna. Like I said, I don't know if I'll upload this to public social media platforms, but I will see. So the next issue is about our justice system. Believe it or not, guys, I know this sounds bizarre, but we have a um, corrupt justice system. We have a system that's utterly corrupt. I found this out by looking up corruption on the internet, like I was saying earlier. And I ever since that's happened with the restorative justice, I went up and I looked up corruption, corruption, corruption on the internet, corruption here, corruption there, and I found out Garda arrested for this, Garda arrested for that, Garda getting 2 years, Garda getting arrested for 2 years for carrying out a serious sexual assault, Garda arrested for this, Garda arrested for that, like so many of them, and the punishment of the crime, the outcome of the years and whatever they get is nowhere near what we would get if we were to do any of that. It's really said out there on the internet, on the mainstream media predominantly, are because they work in cahoots. They're supposed to be separate from each other, like the judiciary, the executive, the government, and all that are separate from the judiciary and separate from the media. They say they're all separate, but they're all in cahoots, and that's how it's so corrupt. And we have people in positions of authority and power that are breaking laws on a regular basis, and we're talking about serious crimes. We're talking about perverting the course of justice, interfering in the prosecution of a criminal, conspiracy to pervert justice, perjury, fraud, grounds of prejudice, very serious criminal offences going on by our public servants, which is members of An Garda Síochána. Yes, I'm talking about Ireland now predominantly here. This is on a global scale as well, but I'll keep it in Ireland. Our public servants are the law seems to apply to us, but not to them in a lot of cases. And GSOC, which is Garda Síochána Ombudsman's Commission, is actually a body set up where members of An Garda Síochána investigate against other members of An Garda Síochána. You see that what the problem is there, guys? We've got An Garda Síochána investigating against other members of An Garda Síochána, and this is even before the investigation begins. There's bias, and the reason why there's bias is because Gardaí investigating Gardaí, like there's bias already there because the people working in the same organisation are investigating each other. What we need is an organisation, a commission set up where it's external from the An Garda Síochána, the police force itself, to investigate members of An Garda Síochána who have committed crimes against members of the public or whoever else. And that's not that we need people who are trained and qualified to investigate them that are not directly affiliated or working with Gardaí. They need to be an external, independent organisation, and that needs to change big time because GSOC. We've have catalogues and lists of witnesses who came forward to GSOC for very with proofs and of very strong cases where they have the proof that they were wronged and by the Gardaí by various serious levels of criminality, like of assault, of being harassed, intimidated, things like that. And like, I know what I'm saying sounds madness, and I could be done with, like, I feel I could be done for, like, if I know this because the reason I know is because I found a campaigner on by looking up on the internet, called Dr. Stephen Manning. And Stephen Manning is a pro-justice campaigner who set up an organisation called Integrity Ireland back in 2012, and that's when the misfit started. But he's on he's getting the it's really built up now. He's at I think he's going very well on exposing it more. He's really getting out there more now as a public figure and all, and I commend the work he's doing. But Integrity Ireland basically is an organisation that is set up to expose corruption and promote justice in courts. And when I found out this organisation, when I found out on their videos by looking up corruption, I stumbled across Integrity Ireland, and there's one video that stood out, and I'm affected by this in combination with the restorative justice with the cannabis thing with me. One of the videos put up was video called Corrupt Gardai. Corrupt Gardai destroyed my life. Corrupt Gardai destroyed my life. And it tells the life of this man who has been harassed, intimidated, and beaten by Gardai for 15 years because this man went out, or this guard from this detective went out with a woman, and they broke up, and they were finished going out with each other. They were done. There was no relationship, whatever. This man started going out with this woman. Since they broke up, they weren't going out ratting, and this woman was, obviously not having an affair with anyone. She would have been single, and he decided, they were going out, and because they started going out, the detective didn't like that, and the detective basically caused a vendetta against this man by influencing other members of An Garda Síochána to make his life a misery by going by about around the local town where he's from by what they basically were doing is they were going around harassing him, telling him to F off out of town, and he got assaulted in his local places where he used to frequent, from bars to the bookies where he used to bet on money for horses and that sort of thing. And not only just that, but it goes much deeper than that. When he brought these cases to court, and brought all this proof to the judges, to the district court judges, and that they were actually they were in cahoots. The judges were actually just covering up for the Gardaí, the district court judges in the first process of going to the courts. And he appealed all these cases. He appealed the cases for a number of them. There were some cases where he did win. In that video, he was saying, but there was one matter where the circumstances were where when he was in the Circuit Court of Appeal, he was up in court for I think like 16 charges for threatening and abusive behaviour towards his ex and all that, and it's absolutely shocking. The story is absolutely horrendous. I can't even. It's very hard to even speak about now. I might not be accurate on the whole thing. It's very distressing. But in the Court of Appeal, before the Court of Appeal, that man got down a forensic expert to come and analyse the documents, and this forensic expert, put the documents, or the statements, witness statements, and all that he made to the Gardaí, and all that through a laser machine, and this machine basically detects any indentations, alterations, edits that have ever been done in statements that would ever go on, by anyone. In if you can't alter or edit any of these statements once you give a victim statement and all that, statements for evidence. You can't alter or do any edits, and if you do, that's called interfering with evidence, tampering with evidence, altering with evidence. Very, very serious criminal offence to do that. Very serious. And this because the reason why this happened is because this man actually gave his documentation and his paperwork and all that to Garda headquarters. Garda headquarters wanted to analyse or look at his documents before it was going to be debated in court. so that they'd have an update on what's going on with this man and his hearings and all that. And like when his forensic expert got them back and then put them through the lens machine, like I was saying, the forensic expert found that indentations in the stock documents after he got them back from the Garda headquarters, and and he's basically the way it was said in it's described in the video by the man was that when the forensic expert told this man that the only way that could happen is that that can't even possibly happen at all, like under normal circumstances, but the only way that could happen is that the Gardaí and the detectives would have to, in the detective squad for them predominantly, would have to bring those documents into a be dampened and soakened, and rolled and ironed with a heavy implement, a heavy iron and a razor, to get rid of certain words or certain sentences that they didn't go in their favor, that cut them out, and they basically uh, rolled and ironed that with a heavy implement, and he found this was proven. He had the evidence of this. He gave this forensic expert with that man gave that evidence in court that that's what the guards done when in the circuit court of appeal, and the judge said, so what? The judge actually came out and said, so what? And this judge was, from what I know, from what I heard in the video, and your man was saying that he was going to be the next GSOC commissioner after that happened. And the Gardaí didn't even arrest him when the judge said, so what, when it's been proven. It's disturbing, to say the least. I can't believe this. Like, I couldn't believe that this rampant criminality was going on, and this man was framed and beaten so badly and everything. He was beaten, and he was sent to hospital, and he was beaten in the Garda cells and everything like that. It's unbelievable. But he basically put out that video to emphasize and get his story out, and he told his story, and that's what happened with that, and he put it up on YouTube, and in a short time frame later, in about the range of 48 hours or something, he got a call to his house on a Saturday morning, and basically a knock came on his door, and there were Gardaí present. They came into his door, and they his partner answered the door. And this is unbelievable what happened. The Gardaí asked at the door, can they come in? And the partner, said no, and they actually forced their way into the property. From what I heard, they done it in a manner. The Gardaí done it in a manner where she was shoved down the hallway and kind of was forced back from the forces of what they were doing. And your man got up out of bed, and when he got up out of bed and went to the door, he was confronted or approached by Gardaí in uniforms with guns, detectives with guns, no, with guns, armed weapons, over that video he put up, called "Corrupt Gardaí Destroyed by Life," and like, it was unbelievable. Like, he was out of it all the exchange that happened, all of what happened, and that he was rugby tackled and frog marched out of the house and put into a Garda car and brought to the barracks, he was arrested for basically obstructing a search warrant. That was the whole reason, and they wouldn't even tell him why he was arrested. The reason why he knows that is because his wife and his father, he was vacated in his father's home, and basically what happened was, the Garda asked, his partner would have said that the partner said to your man who was arrested. The Garda didn't tell this man who was arrested. The Garda, his partner said when he was released from custody, the man, her partner, that it was something to do with an email, but it wasn't said to him, and he was arrested for obstructing a search warrant, and he had his solicitor and doctor involved actually when he was held in the cell for about 3 hours, and there was no warrant. From the looks of it, there was no search, there was no warrant, there was no a warrant issued or nothing. So the Gardaí were they were very unhappy that that video went up on the internet called "Corrupt Gardaí Destroyed My Life." They obviously didn't like, from how I see it, they obviously didn't like that that was put up on the internet, and it upset them, and they came out of their way to deal with this man for doing it. And I will admit that in them videos with the initial one, in the Corrupt Gardaí, some serious accusations and some serious statements were said against this guard and these judges. And the thing about this is that he didn't do anything illegal in the video. He didn't identify or name any individuals. He didn't name who they were. You know, he didn't name anyone in this. And this was uploaded in 2015 as well. Recently, actually, he did upload. He's actually in the process of uploading all the details of all the crimes that have been committed throughout his life by the Gardaí, the judiciary, and all that. And he's naming individuals now, and rightly so he is, because these people need to be confronted or pursued and challenged on what's going on. They need to be confronted for this criminality, and we need the Gardaí to act within their remit as a Garda and start arresting these people. But it's just not going on, because every time a citizen's arrest or a judge gets caught breaking the law, and other people in the court service staff or in the judiciary, like lawyers, barristers, solicitors, county clerks, registrars, and they're actually breaking the law under the proof with obvious proofs, this can be from all laws or all jurisdictions and categories of law. They're not being arrested, and they're getting away with it, like seemingly they are, and the system unfolds on top of itself, where it shuts down to protect them. It unfolds itself to protect them, and that's how it actually works. And I found this out, and this is greatly affecting my life. That I know that the law applies to us, me as a citizen, but not to them. And then in relation to my cannabis problem or issue, I actually need safe access to cannabis because of my own problem, my condition. I need safe access to medically. I can't get it because of the prohibition. There is a program called Medicinal Cannabis Access Program, MCAP, but it's very limited. Only people with a certain have to meet really special criteria to get that, and people with a condition like mine are on the very last, are very down the line. Even if they're lucky to be even on any list, they're any down the line and to be able to be considered by the people in power, the government, and that kind of thing. So I'm saying this to express how I really feel on this. I There's an awful lot of other things as well in Ireland here, like, that are just, prohibition doesn't work. There's also see, I'm ever since this happened with this restorative justice with me, or with the cannabis thing, going to court and everything, I've kind of developed into this kind of person where I'm a civil disobedience kind of individual, where I where I'm mainly kind of taking an interest, or taking provocative, if that's the right word, or taking a motive, that's the correct word, to be involved in campaigns that are involving activism. And I have found some of them, luckily, like we have some of them I support are the Yellow Vests, the Campaign for Truth. Yellow Vest has been founded by Glenn Miller in Ireland. He's doing great work. I appreciate what he does, and with Yellow Vest, Campaign for Truth, and other ones of the like as well, out there. And there's some pages I support as well. I'm trying to keep it on a very central and neutral ground here. So on everything and anything to do with kind of raising issues and major issues that I believe need to be addressed in society. So there's another one called Limerick's Word on the Street. I really support them as well. in Facebook. They're based in Limerick, and they're highlighting serious major issues to do with homelessness, the housing, and all that. And housing is another issue that I will go into as well. I feel about housing, and if you were to hear what I would think would sort out housing, and it wouldn't really register with a lot of people, or for my solutions, because like the views that I have, my opinions and my views, my perspectives and all that is a minor compared to general society, and it's a minor view, a lot of them. So yeah, I have to try and cope with that all the time, and like this thing, the main thing that's caused me problems is that thing with the cannabis thing from the past, and it's a knock-on effect affecting me now, and I'm trying to deal with it the best way I can. I didn't deal with it the best way I could have in the appropriate manner because I was too angry, because I wasn't listened to when I tried to reach out, and a lot of stuff has happened from that. But I'm I'm trying to deal with it the best way I can and get this done peacefully and appropriately, the right way, in the right manner, you know. Um, so what was I saying about yeah, people like with this campaign, Yellow Vest in Ireland. They initially started in France. This, you know, and then they were set up. It's a movement set up to a grassroots movement set up to challenge and against the burden of taxes on the citizens of France, predominantly fuel taxes. So like because the fuel was going so expensive, and other things as well in society in the form of tax, the way taxes mechanismed and structured, and it's being thwarted and being burdened on the taxpayers. They decided that yeah, we were not gonna we need other effective solutions to deal with how we're taxed. And the problem, this is in Ireland as well, that we're being taxed too hard. We're being taxed more and more bit by bit as time goes on, especially now that we're in a time where we're dealing with major, intense, hyped up inflation with no end in sight, seemingly no end, and the cost of food, fuel, and all that is really going through the roof, and it's continuing to do so, and everything is going up in price, literally everything, to do with electricity, gas, oil in your own home, the prices value or the prices of houses and all that kind of thing is going up, and it's just not sustainable. Even the price of cars and everything. But back to France, they set this up against Macron, was it the president of France, or is he the president? Well, he's the governor of France actually. Sorry, I think he is. But he's involved in running the country as a government official in that, or with government officials, and they took a stance to say that we need to have other effective solutions. And with the clips I've seen on YouTube, there's been a lot of clashes and riots with the police and the citizens over this, and in France, and this happened over the COVID-19 phenomenon as well. Um, so yeah, it's been going on frequently, but in Ireland we have it set up here as well. It's them, and we're basically there's a video put up where they have 15, is it 15 or 16? There's 16 demands around them, that number of demands to for what we need to do. And ones that stood out to me in those demands, I won't name them all, but to increase minimum wage to actual living costs. We're earning only €10.50 an hour, and it's just that's just not enough. Like €10.50 an hour is taking is taking the is taking the taking the mick, taking the piss. That's what it is. People just can't live on €10.50 an hour, especially with everything. So we need to increase minimum wage to actual living costs, um, especially with the inflation now. And it's just not acting. They're not. It's not being. When we go outside when we've been outside Dáil Éireann and government buildings around Dublin and elsewhere all over the country, over this, they're not like it's good that they're not really acting on our behalf. It's good in the sense that we're getting out there and there's more campaigns, but still nothing is getting done directly. And these people in positions of authority and power in the government, particularly, need to be confronted on this, because yeah, this needs to happen. This, people need to get out more and start, you know, because this involves our not just it involves our children's future, and involves our future generations, and uh, as now as for young people, predominantly young people will never be able to afford a house in Ireland. What's going on? The property market, the way it's run, is just so it's not favourable for the standard Irish citizen. And being in the EU, like I must say, being in the EU, there's things I could say about that. There's a lot of there's some errors that go on that are made by EU policy. I feel um, that doesn't really benefit the citizens of Ireland here. And yeah, yeah, um, like there's an awful lot I could say on different things. Like, but the other demands were in yellow vests is to increase minimum wage, tax for living costs. That's the one I said. Um, uh, an effective means to remove corrupt Gardaí, corrupt civil servants, and corrupt judges. Very good one as well, because we have judges and barristers and solicitors that are totally and utterly corrupt, really utterly corrupt. And as I said, we have a lot of campaigns and campaigners out there, and over the years we've had some good TDs, politicians out there who address this, like Mick Wallace and Claire Daly, on the penalty points and the corruption within the Gardaí and the judiciary. Luke Mink Flanagan as well. I know I mentioned their names, but they're public figures, so and I support their work. So you know, but yeah, them people like the good people who try and do the right thing. Independent. Some good politicians are pushed aside. If they're not pushed aside, they're in the process of being pushed aside, or they've already been pushed aside by the mainstream parties, the main parties that are in power, and the media and so on, mainstream media predominantly. I feel that way. That's what I believe. It's I think it's the way it seems to be in that trend. Um, but yeah. Um, well, like yeah, other demands like their uh, return Ireland's oil and gas to public ownership. Like we should be returning. It's true as well. We're giving away our resources in Ireland, like our oil and gas and all that, to foreign companies, from that are directly taken out from our lands that we had to extract from. And I just think that we should be really keeping it for ourselves. Like I know there's benefits to foreign that in a way with being getting money in that, but I just don't think it's really sustainable for the Irish people. We need to be looking after our own resources and that before even considering getting involved in with foreign matters or foreign countries and that sort of thing. I think that all countries probably should be probably doing that as well, looking after their own first, like before considering other countries' involvements with other countries when it comes to immigration and stuff like that. And we can carry out immigration once everyone is sorted within the countries that they're in to begin with. And it's we need to really look. There's radical changes and radical reforms we really need to do in a lot of things in this country. Um, and like yeah, what else is there? Like um, yeah, this is pretty long. This is like 48 minutes, but like I don't know how long. There's an awful lot I could say. Yeah, I could go on for way longer, but I'll try and keep it up to the hour mark now. But mainly, um, yeah, it's unbelievable what's going on in this country. Like it's like I need myself to summarize like um but all I need safe access to medical cannabis. Since that program I just sit with that cannabis, that's the main problem with me at the moment. Um, we have an out of control police force, judiciary, and all that with the proof, with Integrity Ireland, with Dr. Stephen Manning. We're in a housing crisis, and I won't get into exactly the housing, why we're in a housing crisis, like in depth, but I think that to sum it up, I think that everyone should be owning one house. Everyone deserves a home, and I know the way there is an answer to how everyone can be housed. Um, because and my answers would actually increase the influx of supply to meet the major demand on that. So yeah, um, trying to think like there's probably a lot I didn't mention here, or I didn't say like that I'd like to say. I'm not even going to look over this video after it's done, because I might just get it out there or something. I don't know. I'll have to decide tomorrow or the day after or something. Um, but I you know, I don't know what more to say really, or to express this issue. Like I'm on social media, but my information is very uh, uh, my information is very private, and my general information is not out into the public when I'm on social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and so on, and YouTube as well, I suppose. I'm making this video because I just can't really. I find it hard to hold in for much longer, in getting to hold it in. And when I try to get effective help with the healthcare system, with doctors, mental health, or doctors, professionals with mental health and physical well-being as well, generally weren't very weren't really helpful. It didn't really do it for me. It's just because, and it's not just because of them. Like, they're doing their jobs. I get it. I understand that. Like, I'm not trying to attack anybody directly, but it's just that the system is all completely uh, corrupted. I must say, but it's there's a lot of immoral and unethicalness there, from what I believe. You know, um, so yeah, we've got a lot of problems, and I would have to go into make more videos to explain each individual topic of what I'm saying, because I have it kind of jumbled up into one video here, and it's long, like, you know. Um, I'm trying to, like, it's my first video, and there's an awful lot to come out with, but I I don't know how to deal with this really, knowing that I need a certain substance slash, you know, call it drug, it's to in medicinal form, to be able to get on with things, but can't because of the law. And if I was to go back to the system, or to the, let's say, the institutions within the healthcare system, and that, you're just going to be coerced to want to draw medications in the form of tablets and pills, that's, you know, um, that are manufactured by pharma, and I just can't do that because of my morals and ethics. And knowing that that cannabis is the one that would deal with the drug that was more therapeutic than anything else, and I know that, so why would I go and take another one to go to make you feel better, to substitute? But that doesn't work. If I know cannabis is the one, and I know that for the absolute myself, for my own body, and actually for myself only, why would I take other drugs to? It's just a mess. It's all a mess, and I think this matter does really need to get addressed. And there's other people that I know of, and I see on public platforms in Ireland and all over the world, who are suffering in chronic pain, both physically and emotionally as well, but emotionally too, um, um, over prohibition to do with cannabis, and in fact other drugs. If you legalized all other illegal drugs, they could have therapeutic effects as well that would actually help other people. I've heard ketamine as well. Ketamine, if you ketamine is a very good stimulant for treating depression if it was legalized, in controlled doses from a doctor. I've seen some studies there, and the prohibition is a real barrier to why enough research can't go in, and why people can't get the effective help they need, and why our streets, or our, you know, our urban areas in Ireland and other, and it's a global issue, like I said, in other places around the world, are filled with people, opportunists that are labelled as gangs, that are making a profit to, you know, make money out of selling drugs, selling illegal drugs, substances, because there's no regulation to stop them doing it. There's no, you know, if there was regulation, then you could. The law, basically, the police are not really trained to deal with drugs. They're not doctors, not mental health. They're not professionals. Let's say, I keep saying mental health, but I mean professionals in all medical fields to deal with the matter. That should be dealt with doctors and them alone. And if we did away with the prohibition, if we legalize, even if we decriminalize slash legalized all drugs, eventually to legalization of them all, the law would go back to doing what it's supposed to be doing, and that would be protecting people from each other. Because law enforcement is designed to protect people from other people doing them harm, protect you from other people doing them harm. Law enforcement is not designed to protect you from yourself. Protecting you from yourself is a function of family, friends, church morality, ethics, and all that. It was never intended to be a law enforcement function. And it's just ridiculous. It's not intended to be a function under law enforcement whatsoever. And I just don't know. Like, it's incredible. I'm following a lot of campaigners and people I've seen, and I'm trying to be an essential neutral ground in all areas. Or um, we need radical reforms. We need a reform on a lot of things, like I was saying. Um, we need to we need to sort out our housing. We need to sort out our justice system, our healthcare system. The prohibition of illegal drugs need to be abolished. In the prohibition, I mean, to legalization, and do it the right way, of course. Have strict rules and regulations to, especially with the harder drugs like heroin and um, crystal meth, and that strict regulation for the healthcare professionals to abide by to help patients who might need it for whatever form or another. Like, for example, morphine fits into the same category, I think, or similar as an opiate or as heroin. I'm not fully sure on that, but there's drugs that are illegal that are fit into the same category, around the same category as illegal drugs, and it's like we need to do it for all. That, but the reason why I found out a disturbing fact as well, that the the reason why the the illegal drugs is not being legalized with prohibition is because if you were to legalize all drugs, the drugs that are actually out there now, predominantly for pharma, and you know, I believe that for pharma and other ones, people wouldn't be going to get prescription tablets and medications in the form of tablets and all that anymore for, I'd say, nearly all medical conditions or conditions and illnesses they have, or if it's not all of them, it wouldn't be a certain number, um, because therapeutic drugs like cannabis would substitute all the drugs that they actually have now to actually help them, because it's more therapeutic and more effective and efficient for treatment and this comes predominantly for treating cancer, and because cannabis kills cancer cells. It's known. It's just a fact. It does. It's been found in studies, and other ones as well, other conditions. So I will. I'll leave it there for now. Leave that there because it's just nearly hitting the hour mark. I didn't expect it to be. I didn't know how long this is. It's like past midnight here. I came out and said I'd do this video. I don't know if I'll upload this or not now. Um, but I want to get this maybe out to public platforms and maybe share. If I decide to send this video out tomorrow, I'm not gonna um I'm not gonna look at this video, and I won't look at the comments, because I know, like, what I'm saying is very sensitive, and comments might come in that might not be favorable towards me. And if I see upsetting comments, I don't want to see them. If there is any upsetting comments, I know there might or comments that might try and, let's say, throw me off or ridicule me in some way. I don't want to see them. And if I see them, I'm going to have to deal with it the best way I can or whatever. But I don't want to. I don't know. I want to see. I'm trying to express this out, so I feel that's why I'm doing this. So I know this is pretty long, so um, I think it's best if I get this out. If you see this video, to share it, and and everything I've said in this video, actually, this is, I will say that as well, that to try and, I don't want to get in any trouble or any trouble for defamation or anything like that. Everything I say is I'm trying to be from my personal beliefs, my personal opinions and viewpoints on this, and I'm trying to be um, factual on the basis, or towards the basis of fact, as much as I can. So if I've ever said anything that's not factual, or that's wrong, or errors, I will admit to that. It's just that this is my first time doing it. There's no perfect plan for this video, because there's an awful lot I could say, and I might have to go into more of this. I try to live a private life and try to live privately, but it's very hard to do that in this world and day and age. And we're in a decade where we're in an age where privacy is going towards extinction. And there's another thing going about privacy as well, about another person that is actually um, another campaigner who died under mysterious circumstances last year, and he was very outspoken against corruption with the governments and all that, and it was all to do with privacy. And that I don't think I'm doing that wrong, but I'll say it's John McAfee, the entrepreneurial virus software programmer. He died under severe weird circumstances. So, like, all this stuff that I said in this video are already all of this stuff is already on public platforms and on social media. So I'll just give the sources to whatever people are wondering. I just don't want any repercussions or trouble to come out of this. You know, um, I'm aware that like I'm coming on and saying this out in the open. Yeah, um, that's mainly what I have to say. Um, I'm just very worried about Ireland because we're in such a we're going towards such a like we're in such a financial depression, and we're going towards a real deep depression, and it's just getting worse. It's not even getting any better. And the seemingly, from how I see it, the people in positions of authority and power are not acting on the expressed concerns that we're raising. So you know, people need to. I think people need to start coming out and protesting, or with the likes of Yellow Vest and that, and that kind of thing. And get involved with people that are like-minded. I think like-minded people, to get through a crisis like this with the times we're in, and talking to people that are like-minded, is the best way to go on. Like, I find there's no point in talking to people that are not on the same page or wavelength as you, or especially with issues like I've raised when it comes to sensitive matters to do with corruption and wrongdoing and by the powers that be and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'll leave it there because I could keep going on and on if I don't. So um, that's all I really have to say. That's what I've to say for tonight. And if this video gets out, well, great if you watched all the way to the end, because this is long. It's an hour, so you know, over an hour. So I'll talk to you, talk to you, everyone, whoever watches this and all that. If this gets out there, and yeah, let's hope that this change for the better comes, because um, I don't want what's coming down the line. I don't want this going too far. What I think could be the worst thing that could come out of this, going down. So yeah, um, that's it, and God bless.